So, Rita,
Great,
that's
great. So
fantastic.
the show must go
I'm
on.
so crazy. I'm jumping from a venue to another one. It's gonna be fun, really. I
Yeah.
feel it's gonna be really fun, crazy. But anyway, let's start. What your guests today? What they're going to discuss? Can you introduce them, please?
Yes, so I'm turning over the camera. I've
Yep.
got here from the row Martin from Apaleo, Isabel from Duetto, and Fabian from OTA Inside as well. And we are doing. And we are doing a little bit of on-floor interviews now with our panelists. So first of all, welcome guys, and thank you for doing this spontaneous interview with me. Can you introduce yourself a little bit and your company, of course?
Let's start.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm Martin. I'm one of the co-founders of Apaleo, and we are doing, in a classical way, a property management system, but looking at this more as of a platform approach. So basically, it's important for us to see the connectivity to applications, Duetto, the Insight, others, and make this very easily available to hotels. In my daily role, I'm typically working with hotel chains as a sales rep for Apaleo, but of course, as a co-founder, you typically jump from one to the other. So I don't know what 2020 in the future brings there.
Hi everyone, my name is Isabel and I'm from Duetto. At Duetto we do revenue management for hotels and we support hotels in revenue management, so we're a revenue management system. Our main differentiator is something that we call open pricing, which enables hotels not just to optimize their daily bar rates, but really have a wholesome revenue strategy and manage that from a single platform, whether it's reporting or group optimization. We help you with that. And in my daily role, I'm a solutions engineer, so I mainly support the sales team in EMEA and do some internal troubleshooting as well.
So I'm Fabian from OTA Insight, and I'm also responsible for the business development for the German market, with a main focus also on Switzerland. And what we do at OTA Insight is basically we provide rate shopping and business intelligence solutions to hoteliers, and that ranges from all sizes, from the little guest house with 7 rooms to the massive hotels and the bigger chains. And basically our goal is to provide hoteliers with the right data, the prices of their competitors, as well as the internal data from their PMS system, and to merge that together to enable them to take the right decisions and seize revenue opportunities.
We are, of course, here at the Mini ITB. How did your day look like so far? I mean, a great initiative collectively from the industry to react to that. How is the day going for you in general?
No, I really thank you guys for the initiative, because it was actually for us quite great. I think on Friday everybody was kind of a bit of shell shocked. There's a lot of work that went into this event, and for us it's really a great opportunity to have a space to meet with the people. I've sent a lot of emails out saying, "Oh, can we move stuff virtually? Can we meet here?" And I actually spent the morning talking with the people who unfortunately couldn't make it to Berlin virtually, and now it's really great to come here and actually have that personal contact as well. So thanks for that.
Yeah, I can only mirror what Fabian is saying. Thanks so much for organizing this, and I think it's a great opportunity for those that have come to Berlin and are here, like myself, I'm based here. It's a great opportunity just to come together and keep alive a little bit of the spirit that we're missing from ITB, since there was a lot of work and effort put into coming here. And personally, I felt that there was a lot of build-up also, that it almost felt a little bit anticlimactic, which I feel this event is helping me kind of get over a little bit. So it's great.
Well, you're doing home office anyway, so it's a good way to get out. I mean, I'm with a 2-year-old 24/7, so it was like, I have to get out. So it's a great way to connect with like-minded people as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, I also found it a very good response to last week. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I also find cool that the student hotel as well as Call to Order were doing this initially with some partners, and we were really happy to join this initiative. I think it's great to see that some of the hotels are coming out. I also find it very symbolic that it's mostly startups and younger companies coming together. Maybe show some desperation, but on the other side also some aspiration to really do something in the industry. And I mean, in one sense, it's good that people can now focus on technology, and basically, technology can help overcome this problem that you might have not as many bookings and so on. So I guess we are also in an interesting spot here to talk to people here, but also in the aftermath of this to see what's happening next.
Have hotels been coming to you asking for advice concretely? Have there been cases where you played a little bit of the consultant role for them, like now during the day?
So in regards to how to deal with this corona?
Well, it's not to do with the corona thing, but how to deal with their inventory and
Well, I think from our end, and this is maybe specific to PMS, I mean, you are at the core of the systems, so you have to make some investment decisions anyways. And if I, now go into an Opera cloud or upgrade some older system for 50,000 euros, or really start with something new, I think for a lot it gives perspective that there might be something else out there. And I think this is what people ask for, alternatives for something new and fresh. And I don't think it's very much related to the current situation, but in general we feel this in the industry, that there's this
moving more to an open platform, right? And it's not directly related to the current situation, but I think when we gave our buzzwords for 2020, one of them was transparency, which I heard a lot, and and also a lot of times open platform or open integrations, which you are, I think, if I speak for all the three companies, it's really much happening. So how do you see yourself as a new generation? You are transforming hotels, revenue management strategy on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. So how do you see this openness towards new strategies or integrations as well?
Yeah, I think that's a great topic, and something that definitely a lot of the customers at Duetto really deal with on a daily basis. One of the things that sets us apart also through our kind of open pricing approach, and of course also the connectivity that we have, it gives the user the flexibility to kind of go ahead with that full automation, which obviously is one of the big buzzwords for next year as well.
Thanks, everyone.
But we also allow the hoteliers to bring in an element of their strategy to be able to react, especially in situations like this, where full automation might not be the route you want to go, because you want to react quickly and be able to make certain strategy changes that might be very different from what you've been doing in the past. So I know that yesterday I was on a call with some of our customer success managers, and they had put together kind of 6 ways that you can look at your hotel on Duetto and things that you can change that might help you get through the next couple of weeks. So it was a really great initiative from them to be able to speak to our customers and help them and support them with the technology that they have, and not just kind of go into a phase of scaredness and quick reactions without looking at the data and thinking about what they really want to do, not just in the short and immediate term, but also in the long run, to make sure that they're not making detrimental choices to their business.
And you are, of course, contributing to those choices. So what do you think about openness?
No, I think it was actually to go back to your previous question, is what if hoteliers asked us. When I was on the calls actually trying to reschedule some of the meetings for the ITV, I got a lot of questions saying like, okay, what are we supposed to do now? What have you heard from others? And I think it's actually bringing this community together, and might be even a good like a catalyst to engage in more openness. I mean, we have and to bring more transparency to it. We, from a rate shopping perspective, we like to, of course, connect with as many as possible and provide our data to as many hotels as possible for the best decisions. So, yeah. we're going where like transparency for us is always great.
Thank you. And speaking of openness, we are here with Women in Hospitality and Travel Tech. I just can't leave this one out. And so you've got great women in your company. I mean, Tamara is here, Margaret maybe on the floor. Do you have any, concepts for company cultures to also show this openness from a diversity perspective and having strong women like Isabel on the top line?
Yeah, so I think compared to traditional organizations, you have to stay away from hierarchies a lot. So that's something that we're fostering a lot with a founding team of 14 people, including some of them women, but also shifting now into a growth stage where we really want to have everyone be represented, everyone heard, bring in their ideas. I think it opens up to a lot of people, and it also attracts other talent than maybe a traditional company. So I think there's this career thing on the one side, but then the cultural communities thing on the other side. And I feel that in Apaleo right now, it's a very nice move. Of course, as you say, people like Margaret and Nara, they show this, they symbolize this, and thereby also it's becoming obvious that it's a good choice or a good alternative to traditional companies. So I think from that perspective, you have to always keep everyone heard and make sure that you understand it, maybe also understand some of the things that you shouldn't do and so on. So it's a learning process at the same time.
You have got amazing women at Duetto as well. I mean, just speaking about hi Benedict Olagnon. She's one of our mentors as well. Do you feel this diversity is
Hi, can you hear me?
your progress?
Yeah, definitely.
Hello, can you hear me?
Duetto actually pretty organically kind of has this culture within them. I think in the London office, it's pretty much 50-50. If not maybe a little bit more skewed, so more women in the office. So it's a really balanced environment for male and female, and you feel that it really, you have the benefits from both sides, and people work together, and you kind of cover like a broad spectrum.
Can you hear me, Andy?
And
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Really good,
Yes, I do. One second.
just productive.
Let me get in touch with Rita.
Yeah, and hi Benedict, if you're watching.
Hi Rita, can you hear me?
Fabian. Well, I had a big talk about employer branding and diversity with Manon.
Manon, exactly.
Yes, and it was a great conversation. You were obviously a company that also grew super fast. So how do you feel welcomed at the company, and which are the things that you see, okay, OTA Insight is actually doing for you in order to progress and fit into this culture very, very quickly?
Yeah, no, that's actually, I was just about to echo exactly what you said over there as well. When I joined OTA Insight, which was relatively
Just stay there, Don.
recent,
Don't worry.
I was really surprised on how well they've dealt with that amount of growth, especially with offices now kind of all over the world. And we actually had a company meeting where we flew out the whole staff. I'm not sure if Manon mentioned it actually on to Lisbon. And I've actually met even people that I worked at previous companies with that I was standing, I remember this once, Ashley, if you're watching this, but I actually met a colleague that I worked at a previous company with that I didn't know that she was joining, and I suddenly saw her there, and I was like, wow, this is just amazing to see people come back like this and meet people there again. And with regards to females also at OTA Insight, I think, and female power, I know from our sales team, I know the numbers, and sometimes I'm getting pretty scared of what they're signing, and I think that's really a good thing, and that's a position where we also need to be in, that you don't even have to feel you need to think about it so much because it's just so normal as part of the culture.
Yeah, great. And after all, we are all a big family. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy your day in Berlin. Enjoy the mini ITB, and I hope to see you very, very soon again.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. And so, that was fun.
Yeah, good stuff.
Oh, God. Ich glaube, ich hole mir jetzt auch einen Kaffee.
Huh?
I cannot actually hear you, but that's a technical issue.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So, how's it going? All good?
Great. We had a great company, and we were all, came to the conclusion that we are a big happy family, hotels and travel tech companies all together and coming together. So this event also shows how quickly the industry is coming together when something is happening.
So I see here on the waiting list Dan, Andy, and Heiji. So from BD for Travel. So which one of them should I open the channel right now for you?
Andy, let's see, door number 1, Andy.
Door number 1. Hi, Andy. How are you?
That's scary. I'm very good, thank you. Very good. Nice to meet you.
So before you start, Rita, I also have Dan and Heiji. So should I put all of them, or are they jumping in the conversation right now?
So Andy was supposed to be doing a presentation on his own, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and then after Andy, we start with Dan and Heige.
Yeah.
Right? Did I pronounce correctly, Heige or Heiji?
I think it's adding Ryan. Just looking at the
Ryan is
Ryan.
Yeah. So Dan, are you going to? Sorry, Andy, are you going to share something? Some
Slide
slides?
my screen.
Yeah, you have on a dashboard there. This call to actions. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. Let me share that. Perfect.
Okay.
So
And I'm just going
hopefully-
to say bye and see you later for the later sessions with Muse and Challenges 2020.
Very good.
I'm going to add also Ryan. 1 second. Hi, Ryan.
Hi there, guys. So I'm actually in one of the hotel rooms here at the Student Hotel. How fantastic and wonderful is this? Before we now move on to Andy Owen Jones from BD4 Travel, who's going to be talking to us all about personalization, which I understand now is the time for personalization, Andy.
Absolutely. If not now, when?
So are you going to talk to us through what it means, personalization, and how travel companies can adopt this?
Yes, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about one-to-one personalization and moving beyond averages, segments, and binary testing. And it's part of a presentation that we were looking at doing at ITB, but I'll also be doing a fuller version at the Travel Industry Club in Frankfurt on the 26th of March. And really the idea here is that at the moment, a lot of people have been talking about personalization. And when I talk to a lot of our clients, the two things that are at the top of their mind are selling ancillaries and making extra revenue on top of a trip, and also using AI to deliver personalization to people. And we've had a lot of discussions with clients and so on. But what we find is there are some inherent limitations in the approaches that people have. And so I've titled this Moving Beyond Averages, Segments, and Binary Testing. And I think part of the reason for that is technology is now so powerful that if you have the right set of data, the right algorithms, the right infrastructure, and the right approach, you can truly start to achieve one-to-one personalization. But at the moment, we still tend to have a mindset of looking at averages, looking at segments, and looking at binary testing. And I just want to spend a little bit of time on that and then talk you through what we do. So at the moment, the status quo is that everyone who really looks at a site tends to have a very similar experience. That's not so true when you look at a site like Amazon, where you've got a big shopping history. But on a typical e-commerce site like that, maybe you've got 10 million or 1 million products in your store, or 100,000, depending on how big you are. And people shop a lot in these stores. So it's very easy to analyze shopping baskets and say, people like you also like this, or you might have bought this 1 week, so we'll predict you'll buy this another week. We can look at your book reading habit, we can look at your shopping habit and work out what you're after. But it's very different on a site like a travel site, where you might have 200,000 hotels, 1,600 airports, 500 airlines, 365 days a year, and you're soon into billions of possible combinations. And so people tend to default to price or to something that someone else has been on. And the net result is people tend to get the same experience every time they look at something. What we want to get to is a bit of a different approach, which is real-time self-learning and industry specific. And the way we do this is we try and listen to every meaningful data point that someone puts in, whether that's on a phone or through a tool like a website or an app or whatever. We capture every single meaningful data point to try and understand the context that someone's in and what they're really looking for. And we use that to measure and predict what people want for individuals. We try and, in the background, understand the entire product range that someone has got and work to experimentally put the right things in front of people and create learning loops. And I think if you're only looking at the end result of something where you've got maybe 100 or 500 bookings a day, you've got 500 learning points. But if you're looking at every single interaction that someone's got, you can create millions of learning points in a day. So we're trying to build up a profile of an individual user. What's important to them? Where do they want to book? Do they want to book soon? Are they in the early stages of finding something out? Or are they really getting ready to get the credit card and pay? How much revenue are they going to spend? What are they doing right now? So maybe they're on a business trip, but they could be stimulated to buy a leisure trip later. What would catch this particular person's attention? Are they security conscious at the moment? Do they want to go somewhere where there's no coronavirus? Or are they actually much more interested in the size or the cleanliness of the swimming pool? And then also, what did this person do so far? And it allows us to try and come up with different user experiences for each person that reflect what they do. And it's a bit like if you were to go into a shop and have someone talk to you, they would put the right things in front of you rather than just say the same thing to you every time. And if you went into a shop 10 days in a row, they would respect what you've said and come back with some concrete ideas. So the core things that we're talking about are looking at individual users and not just segments of people, looking at different product categories, so airlines, hotels, ancillaries, car hire, giving people the opportunity to cross-sell. And our experience in all sorts of branches of the travel industry at the moment is the market is increasingly setting the price that people can sell for, and people are going to make profit on the cross-sales that they can make and the ancillaries that they can sell. So the better you understand the customers and the products you're selling, the more chance there is to actually make a profit. What we also want to do is give the ability to personalize the messages to people. So the examples in this set of screens are from Emirates, where we're working with Emirates to make sure that the things that are offered are relevant to the person in their context. At the same time, it needs to be real time. So if someone changes from checking in on their business trip to starting to look for a leisure trip, you don't want to offer them business type services. Or if they're going on a business trip, you don't want to offer them annual multi-trip insurance. It needs to be context sensitive and also to get the balance right between something that's completely black box AI driven and something that's more open so that you can start to influence these things. But we all know the limitations of business rules. You can't possibly cope with seasonality, massive quick changes, etc., if you're just relying on business rules. Our goal as a business is to help our customers be always relevant to each and every individual user and customer. And what we're really trying to do is take people away from the idea that they have to be average and show everything the same to everyone who comes, that they can only look for large segments like backpackers or families. But actually, we believe that if you really measure people down to the level of what they're doing in this context now, you can start to tailor your site or your channel or your app to meet that person's needs more effectively. So there you have it. That's our kind of story, and that's the kind of things that we were going to show at ITB. Really happy to be with you guys on the show now, and very happy to dive in and look a bit more at what we do there. Is there anyone else there? Hi, Enzo. Hi, there's me. Just in case you're still there, I'm very happy to pick up on what we've just been talking about. So, Ryan, are you on the side so that you can hear and jump in?
Hello. Yes, I am. Sorry about that. Having to a bit of a technical error there. As always is the way.
Not the bedroom.
So what you've been working with a series of different companies. You made an announcement recently that you've brought some new people on board, and you've got this experience recommender as well. So you're growing quite comfortably at the moment. There's a great opportunity here for travel websites, especially at this particular time, to really better perfect how they make their products available and present their products to the most relevant person. And you know, do you think that this an idea that's now sort of catching on, or do companies really need to educate themselves on what personalization is?
I'd say both. So 6 years when we started talking about AI-driven personalization, actually no one was very interested. Now everyone's interested. And what we find is most people start off by having a look and then saying, that's great, we'll try it ourselves. They try it for a year and then they come back to us and say, actually, we'd like to get the benefit of your experience. And I think the kind of thing that we see works very well is testing out a number of things like making personalized recommendations to people. So we've tested out editorial content versus random content versus top-selling content versus personalized content versus, for example, people like you style collaborative filtering content. And what we found is that content that is driven by inference and probability scores better with customers in the sense of higher click rates, people find what they're after quicker, the conversion rate gets better, and the average shopping basket goes up. So I'd say, although it was a bit disputable for a while whether this would work or not, what we found is the systems learn quicker than any individual can. So even if it's only performing as well as your team now, in a year's time, it will be performing much better.
And there is an element that it needs time to work. It needs time to understand. There is an implementation process. As you say, you're not an Amazon, you're not a retailer selling things on a day in, day out basis. So we're talking about peaks and troughs that go throughout the year with different markets. So it needs to learn, right?
And even on an individual purchase, people take between 6 and 8 weeks to learn.
Wow.
Yeah. 6 and 8 weeks to decide. And we saw one of our very large customers ran their marketing campaigns for 5 weeks. And it meant that they were recording the success of their marketing campaigns before the majority of people had actually decided what to do. They were making completely wrong decisions. And so that comes down to good attribution models, understanding people's purchase behaviors. And I think some of the statistics that you get out of people like Google, which are great statistics, but they say, for example, people are on an average website for 30 seconds and they go to 35 websites or whatever. What that doesn't reveal is they go onto a lot of websites and click straight off them. If you take those people out, a lot of people will spend an hour, 2 hours, 5 hours on a site coming back again and again and again. And they leave you hundreds and hundreds of clues as to what's important to them. And if you can pick that up and respect what they're doing, you can put very pertinent things in front of them.
I mean, I can certainly see how it could work because, I am a sort of person that will dither and dather when it comes to making a decision as to where to go and what to do. And I'll probably spend hours on a particular site backwards and forwards. And, if you have to keep going back and you're having to do the same old searches over and over again in order to get to where you got to last time, you've just spent a considerable amount of that time messing around when actually all you want to do is get to the website, see what you saw before, and then start making that more educated or informed decision.
I completely agree. And the way sites have been structured has led people to believe that they've got different behavior. So, for example, a lot of people will have one phone number on the homepage, another phone number on the search results page, and a final phone number on the booking page. And they think that people who are looking on the homepage are kind of looking for inspiration, but they're bookers if they get to the booking page. But the truth is a lot of people go all the way through the process and back multiple times. And a looker can be looking for inspiration and be on the booking page, but not yet be ready to book. Whereas a booker could be at the home page, coming back, or even a customer. What we've seen is a lot of the time, customers will come back 10 days in a row to your site to see if you've changed the price. And that's a bad time to try and sell them the same holiday. It's a very, very good time to try and cross-sell extras or to start understanding what that person would be motivated to do next time. And if you can reassure them and signal them that you're doing the right thing, then understanding where they are in that process is a really good thing. So just the understanding will give you a different flavor. But if you can start to amend what you do, so if someone comes in from meta search, they're probably further down the funnel. You don't want to inspire them so much. If they are an already decided user, you probably want to turn off your recommendations and inspiration, make the photos smaller, make the facts bigger, and give them a reason to buy this particular product.
And it's really about that experience. It's having that brand experience in which that customer feels valued or recognized in many ways. And your technology even goes so far as to connect the call center in order to give them a code that should someone be looking online and they haven't given any of their details, but they're able to call and actually pick up that conversation with the travel agent. And it's one of the trends that we're also seeing is that typical or high street travel agents are not necessarily getting a massive resurgence, but they're still being considered by consumers, even the younger generations.
Absolutely. And I think there's almost an overload of information online. It's who do you trust anymore? And I think some people are going back to travel agents because they feel they can trust them. Some just because they don't have time to do all the research and it gets complicated to put things together. I think a few experiences like the volcanic experience with Iceland a few years ago and now the current coronavirus put into perspective the benefits of having a tour operator behind you, so that you're not just putting together the components yourself, you're able to have someone who can manage a disruption, and that becomes increasingly important. But I think what we're trying to do is not necessarily automatically surface the right product, but really understand what is the right interaction that someone wants to have with your brand. And that could be exactly as you say, it's a call center interaction. It could be a WhatsApp interaction. It could be an email interaction. It could be changing the sort order to put the products in the right way. But essentially what we're trying to do is say, if you test out these things, you're never going to come up with precisely the right action. Let's try and understand what the customer wants and what the customer would have as the very best experience, and make every effort to use all the technologies we can find to put the product in front of them or the experience in front of them in the best way possible for that individual.
Andy, I couldn't thank you enough for giving me an absolutely perfect link to introduce our next guest, which is all about experience. But Andy Owen-Jones, thank you very much from BD4 Travel. I understand you've got some virtual showcases, showrooms. So people go to the website, I guess that they can sign up to those. Excellent. And that's bd4travel.com.
Lovely. Thanks for your help.
Excellent. Thanks, Andy. Have a great week.
Thanks, Andy. Right, Ryan. So before we open to Dan, let's take a few second break and then we jump on the conversation back again. All right?
Absolutely.
Back again. Hi, Dan. How are you?
Hi, Enzo. I'm very good. Thank you. How are you?
Coming for join us. This is going to be a crazy live stream, so don't pay too much attention. Ryan is going up and down from the meeting room to the bedroom, and I don't know where he's going today.
Don't ask any more questions. Where will I end up next? The spa? The gym?
Right, Ryan. So we have 15 minutes with Dan. Then we have an important interview with Sanjay from Ideas. So
yeah, we have an exclusive announcement, don't we, Enzo?
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do. And won't wait for that, man. So
4:30.
Let's go. Let's go.
Great. Thank you very much, Enzo. Okay. Hello, Dan from Book Boost. How are you doing?
Hi, Ryan. I'm very good. Thank you very much. And thanks a lot for having us today. It's a great initiative that you got going there on such short notice. And it looks like you're in a cozy room there. In the studio there.
It's pretty cool, actually. I definitely feel at home. It's got a little chalkboard here as well, which is awesome. It takes me back to the 90s when we actually used to pin stuff on the board, or I used to blue tack. Anyway, Book Boost, a guest messaging platform. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, all right. So what Book Boost is, we enable hotels to build a personal relationship with each and every guest. And the platform consists basically of three basic components. It's a unified inbox at the core. So a hotel can use any communication channel that their guests use. And all those channels are centralized into one inbox that the receptionists usually use in the hotels. And then there's CRM functionality, and there's automation. To be able to build a relationship with each and every guest, you need some part of automation, because to do that at scale, that's not possible for hotels to do that manually. So we built the platform to do so, and yeah, we're very excited when a hotel succeeds to create a great experience for their guests.
And that's it. I mean, we talk about experience all day today, and really how you can build that brand and then build those relationships with the guests. And it goes beyond just having repeat guests. It's about word of mouth. We already know that in word of mouth is one of the best marketing tools that you can ever have. But it's also, where are people talking now? I mean, what's the relevance of email, say, versus messaging? I mean, why is messaging so much more important than perhaps just focusing on email?
Right. Yeah, what we see here that most of our customers use is that looking at the guest journey at different times in the guest journey, different channels might be relevant. So let's say you make a booking and check-in is in a few weeks, then it's kind of expected that you get your confirmation by email. Whereas when you start to prepare for your trip and you might be on the go already and you get a WhatsApp or a SMS, it's much more convenient for the guest because it's a more instant channel. So it depends a little bit on where you're at in the guest journey, what channel is most relevant. And then also looking at hotels, obviously they often have guests from around the world, right? And in many different areas of the world, there's different common messaging apps. So our mission is to help hotels to get their communication and get their engagement on the preferred channel of the guest. Whereas for them, it doesn't really matter because, again, it's all from that centralized inbox. And it's a little bit that when the customer effort is very low. So we look a lot at airlines. So when you receive communication on a channel that you're used to, it's very easy to engage with an organization, with a brand. And that lowers customer effort and increases the experience, increases loyalty as well.
I mean, I experience the same mainly when I'm using, say, Airbnb, or here in Berlin, Mr. B&B. And, you know, the host is messaging me directly through the app, and I'm receiving the messages. I'm able to respond immediately. And we've even shared WhatsApp just so that it's quicker and faster and more efficient. And you can see how that would make most sense for hoteliers who are working with the millennials and the Gen Zs, who are more used to using instant messaging app than email, for example. Especially, I don't know what your email's like, but I'm bombarded on my personal and my personal email on a daily basis with all the newsletters or sites that I've subscribed to over the last maybe 20 years of having this specific email. So I guess the communications go straight, therefore, to the hotel and straight back to the guest without the guest having to search and find that information.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you describe it very nicely. And it's very much of, perhaps when you were back in school, sometimes in some occasions you would feel more treated as a number, right, than as a person. It's the same in hotels. You want to feel treated as a person. And when a hotel succeeds to get that across with each and every guest, they just create a great guest experience. And this is when magic happens, because guests will be more likely to provide you with feedback in case there's something to improve. So a classic example here is that when a hotel sends out a message just straight after check-in, let's say 50 minutes after check-in, you've just came into the room, that's really like a go, no-go moment, because you're checking it out. You never get a second chance to make a first impression, right? So when you then get a message on the channel that you're used to, asking you whether everything is okay, whether there's anything that the hotel can do for you, that's giving you the feeling that the hotel is there for you and that they want you to have a good experience. And then when there's something small, can be something silly that maybe you wouldn't walk down to reception to ask for it, this lowers the threshold. Whereas these little things can make a big difference, because when you create this great experience, guests are also more likely to leave you a positive review instead of going to TripAdvisor and complain about that little silly thing if they didn't have the feeling that the hotel wants you to have a good experience.
I must say, I have been to a few hotels and there's not been a single phone in the room. And I'm like, the idea of going down to the front desk and asking them a question, or, should I look for the phone number? And then I'm thinking, well, how ridiculous is that if I'm calling from floor 4 just to floor 0 for a quick question? And, messaging would obviously answer a lot of that. But I guess, as you say, it's everything from the moment of booking all the way through to in-stay, and those questions acting like a concierge when you need those informations, those frequently asked questions. And I guess, does that mean you have automation to be able to help answer some of those questions?
Yeah, right. So building up a personal relation with each and every guest means there's a lot of data, a lot of traffic, and hotels are not able to hire more employees or are not able to increase the workload for their staff. So actually, the great advantage is when you have this data on messaging, you can also use it to automate, because the system can learn, the system can recognize recurring questions, can improve over time, and this way automate most of the communication while remaining personal and keeping a personal tone to the guest. So that's definitely part of the solution at the core. Yeah.
And I guess, as well, reviews are a big thing. So encouraging them to write reviews just before they leave. And that I understand from a few pieces of data that I've seen in the past, like Trust You, I think it is, talk about if you request that review before they've even left, they often leave a more positive review than if they are to leave it once they've left the hotel. So it's having that, it's almost like having a conversation that you might not necessarily have in the hotel, because people just come in, they want to go to the hotel room and they want to go back out again. They don't want to interact necessarily with people inside. So it's having that flexibility. But does that take away, though, the service that hotels so much think as their unique selling point?
Well, actually, it provides a great opportunity to increase service, since, like, when you have the tools to get to know your guest. So, as an example here, you can ask for in the beginning of the journey for a guest, when they make a booking, you can ask whether they want to receive any personal recommendation, local tips, etc., and on what channel. Well, if the guest then chooses not to engage, you know that that's not relevant for them. Whether if they choose to engage, you know that that's what they expect, and that's what would improve their experience. So then you can start an automated guest journey where you send that relevant information for that specific guest. So it's very much that based on what the guest needs, you send relevant information. And this is also really good, because when you know that guests are more likely to want to receive perhaps offers for ancillary services, for instance, you can send relevant offers. Whereas compared to how some hotels do that today, where you, a few weeks prior to check-in, you just get a kind of like a catalog of services, right? Where probably most of it is not relevant for you. So it's very much about knowing your guest needs and using that to send relevant information. So it's a great opportunity actually to increase the service for hotels.
Yeah, and I guess it sounds like you can actually increase revenue whilst they're in the stay by offering them most relevant products. So it's not just about service, but also revenue opportunities that you haven't necessarily been able to achieve through email.
Right, exactly. I mean, you might kind of like explore opportunities, if that makes sense, because you get to know guests and you can send relevant info, whether that's service, whether that's more direct revenue related. That depends on what the guests need. So indeed, it gives the opportunity to increase revenue as well in some cases.
So who's been using your hotel? Whereabouts your product, your guest messaging platform, Book Boost? Who's been using it, and where can they access it from?
So can you? I'm not sure if I understood the question.
Yeah, can you tell me what type of hotels you've been working with?
Right, sure, yeah. So we see actually a lot of traction at the moment in we call it concept hotel groups. So hotel groups that are building a brand, that want to do things a little bit different than others, perhaps, that want to surprise the guest. Because when you surprise the guest, again, you create an experience, and experiences stay to the mind. Like when you visited a hotel and you're a few months further in time, what sticks to the mind is the feeling that you got when you were at the hotel. And when you do something different, when you create an experience, you play on that feeling. And this is like where we see a good product market fit for BookBoost at the moment.
Excellent. Well, thank you ever so much for joining us today, Dan. It's been great learning about guest messaging and how to improve that experience. And have you got any? In what way can people get in contact with you if they want more information?
Right. So the company is called Book Boost. Our website is www.bookboost.io. And yeah, find us on via the website or via LinkedIn. I'm sure there will be ways. And thanks a lot for having me today. It's really exciting. I'm thankful for that, and great job on getting this pulling this off so short notice. And have a great day in Berlin.
Wonderful. Thanks, Dan. And sorry, you couldn't make it, or all of us really couldn't all make it all together. And we all look forward to seeing the rest of the industry, hopefully very soon. Anyway, take care of yourself. Thank you.
Right.
All right.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you. Right, Ryan.
Thank you,
Keep
Enzo.
going. I see Sanjay already connected. So I'll switch off Dan and start in a few seconds with Sanjay. All right. I'll see you in a bit.